We are recording now. So the first question is, if you would please introduce yourself, your school, the subjects you teach, and the number of years you've been teaching.
Great. My name is Nathan Galloway. I teach health and physical education at Westover Hills Elementary School, part of Richmond City Public Schools. I am currently in my 6th year of teaching, all at Westover Hills since I started.
Okay, 6 years, hard to believe.
Right?
So tell me a little bit about Westover. How would you describe your school?
Right off the bat, we are a Title I school. We house around 450 to 500 students occasionally in the 6 years that I've been there. Good news, at the beginning of this year, we actually were recognized as a fully accredited school. So our test scores improved drastically from what they were when I first started there. We are also a Leader in Me school, which is a school improvement-based model, which basically is promoting the 7 habits of healthy people, but they frame it as the 7 habits of healthy kids, which is meant to not only promote setting academic goals, but also setting personal goals. So we really, or personal goals. So we really use that model to not only make sure that we're teaching, the curriculum and meeting our SOLs, but we're also helping the students develop personally so they're ready for college and careers outside of school.
Awesome. All right. If you would please tell me about a specific learning approach that you've used during the school closure to engage your students.
So my specific approach that I've been using has basically been through Class Dojo, which is basically our parent communication system. We don't use it school-wide, but it is kind of our unofficial way of communicating with parents, just because, phone calls aren't always as effective and emails aren't always as effective. So we kind of use Class Dojo as a one-stop shop at the beginning of the year, basically encouraging all parents to sign up to be a part of Westover Hills Class Dojo. And then furthermore, the teacher, whether they're in kindergarten or 5th grade, the teacher will then kind of funnel all of the students that are signed up for Class Dojo into their separate class. And this kind of just makes it easier for teachers to send out classroom announcements or school announcements. That way parents are getting all the information they need. So what I did with Class Dojo was I just started recording videos and kind of teaching very short, engaging lessons with a main idea, an example, and kind of a group activity that, in theory, as I'm doing it and the kids are playing it back on their computers or their tablets or their devices, they're doing it as I'm doing it.
Very cool. All right. So what do you feel was your purpose in developing your distance learning approach?
So the real motivating factor in starting the distance learning approach that we've kind of been forced to be flexible with was at the beginning of the school year. I was approached by my principal, myself, and also our librarian, music, art, and Spanish teacher. We were approached and basically given a task, and that task was that we needed to try and close the gap that we were seeing with some of our kindergartners and 1st graders that were struggling with their letters and letter sounds. And we all know that at that young age, being able to understand your letters and letter sounds and comprehend that is huge to making sure that once they're in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, that they are reading, or they have a better chance of reading on level. So at the beginning of the year, we were given 6 kids, 3 from kindergarten and 3 from 1st grade, each of us. And they were kind of like our group, our small group that we would see every day. So, I was basically motivated when this all started, very shocked that, we weren't going to be in school anymore, but then just thinking, not just about my students in health and PE, but I was just thinking, I was making so much headway with some of these students that like, it's so unfair that, we're not going to finish what we started. So I just would post up a sticky note on the back, and with them in mind, I would be teaching different letters and letter sounds towards the end of the alphabet that we just didn't get a chance to finish towards the end of the year. So I kind of took it from a small group approach to basically a kindergarten and first grade whole grade level approach. So that was the main motivating factor. Another factor was when we first got the announcements that we were closed from here on out. My wife was actually sitting next to me when we found that out. And she kind of looked at me, not in like a bad way, but she kind of looked at me and said, like, what are you going to do now? Like, is this like the end for you? And then I kind of looked at her, like defending myself. I was like, no, this isn't it. Like, we're going to get it done. We're going to do something. So kind of those two things hand in hand kind of really motivated me to stay involved and try to keep the students engaged.
So have you done many like Hangouts or Zooms or whatever platform Richmond's using with some of your classes, or primarily those 6 students?
So we have been getting better at that throughout these past couple of weeks. I'm sure you've heard, Richmond has been doing a fantastic job of distributing Chromebooks and hotspots throughout the whole area, throughout all schools and grade levels. So ours just got distributed, I believe, a week and a half ago. So maybe 2 weeks. But now that we know that the kids have those, we've been having more frequent Zoom calls, more frequent Google Hangouts, and the teachers have been fantastic at kind of just always forwarding those emails to myself and the rest of our humanities team. So any chance I get, it kind of fills out the day very quickly. But at any chance I get, I'm always joining in from one grade level to another grade level. And basically I've just been kind of co-oping with different teachers in different grade levels and just joining in on their Zoom calls, more so just to be a face rather than a teacher per se. Right. But it's been good to see the kids' reactions once they see, like, hey, Coach G's here for our Zoom.
You're probably the superstar.
Lately, yes. So it's been a pretty interesting dynamic, to say the least.
I mean, that's exciting to hear that the classroom teachers are inviting you and the humanities teachers into the class meetings.
We definitely knew that was going to be not a challenge, but we definitely knew that would probably be the best way to ensure that we were kind of getting out there and getting to see the kids, because, best case scenario or like your big picture thing is it would be cool to have a Zoom call with 400 kids and myself, but that would also be a little overwhelming. So we'll start small and we'll start realistic and, like, hey, just forward your meeting to Coach G. Like, he's not going to talk the whole time. Like, he'll be there, he'll listen. So yeah, the classroom teachers have been great about it, and it's been awesome.
Well, if you decide to do a grade level Zoom with first grade, please invite me, because I'd love to see however many hundreds of little faces at one time. I can't imagine.
We've already had, I think it was second grade that we did. I think it was last Thursday after the Chromebooks were distributed. There's just so many mutes and unmutes and so many just interesting sounds that come from the different sources. And I find myself having to stop my video because I'm like getting ready to laugh out loud, and that's funny.
That's cool. Okay. All right. So I think you've kind of addressed how you developed this idea. You've talked a little bit about this. And so the next piece would, so in your opinion, how well did your approach work, and kind of talk about your student response?
So, yeah, I mean, like my wife, huge motivating factor just with that one question, kind of got my mind battling a little bit and thinking about how this is going to work. But really, once I started posting the videos, like with Class Dojo, you can post stories to like specific classes, but I took it, like I kind of just skipped that step and I posted it to the school page. And I didn't realize this when I was doing it, but the first video that I posted, I clicked post and I clicked share now, and I didn't even read the pop-up that came after it. And it said, "Are you ready to share it?" You're sharing it with 770 people, including 44 teachers. So it went to everybody.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I just sent this 8-minute video of me going abdominals for A, like, and I kind of sat there. I was like, well, I hit send. It's there now. We'll see what happens from here on out. And later on that day, like I was just packing up stuff, getting ready for the move, and my phone just went ballistic. Like it was, so-and-so liked the video, so-and-so commented on the video, and it was kind of crazy to see. And the students were commenting on the video via their parents. Their parents were typing it out saying, "We loved this. Like,
Oh, that's
can you
so
please,
cool.
can you please do this more?" And then it kind of evolved to me doing, Tabatas or high intensity interval trainings, just to kind of get the kids up and moving, as well as practicing that content in the classroom.
Right.
And parents just all day saying like, Johnny loved this, or Kayla enjoyed this so much. Like, she's so tired from your Tabata today. It was really cool to see. And I just kept going. Like I started with A and then all the way to Z, and like we're here now. So it
So
kind of,
you've created one for every letter of the alphabet at this point?
it was, I think it was like 3 at a time kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, we went through the whole alphabet, and I was trying my hardest to make sure that it was connected to health and PE as best as I could. But with the muscle names and the bone names for some of the kids,
Yeah, that's great.
it was fun to do. And I told, my first video was hilarious because like I told everyone from the very beginning, like, just like, this isn't me, this isn't how I teach, like I'm going to mess up a lot, and we just need to get through this together, just like we're going to get through quarantine together. And I think a lot of people appreciated that because they were kind of seeing me for who I really am versus like the not show, but versus that stagemanship that you kind of put on when you're like in the middle of teaching a lesson in front of the kids.
Right. Very cool. All right. All right. So let's see. The next one is, what do you feel like you've learned from trying this approach? Like, would you try it again? And then, like, where did you learn about this approach? Was this kind of your idea or something that you gained from some other direction?
I mean, I would just say the best thing that I've learned from this whole thing is, be yourself. There's no point in trying to do anything any different than you normally would, except, when you are teaching virtually or communicating virtually, like you may have to step it up a little bit in terms of the emotion that you're showing or your actions. And you need to let everyone know that, you're not perfect. And like, there's going to be a lot of mistakes. There's going to be a lot of stutters and stumbles, and it just gets you to be more comfortable being on camera. Like, I mean, you can still see that I struggle sometimes looking at my face versus looking at the camera.
Yeah, I haven't mastered that either.
To address the audience, but it's just, you're going to get more comfortable on camera. And I mean, even when the videos I was recording with Dr. Ramsey and Jackie from Sports Backers, like I was so nervous the first time, and they literally had to like stop everything, and it was just like, dude, you're fine. Like,
You were nervous?
I mean, I would literally be lying to you to say if I wasn't. Like,
Yeah.
more so nervous that I didn't want to be out there because it was so cold that first video, that first day. Like,
Wow.
I just didn't want to be out there for 2 hours looking for the perfect take, so to say. And then we all realized, like, we're not Hollywood movie producers. Like, if we mess up, we mess up. We're fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, just be yourself. And I mean, this kind of approach has been out there for a while. It just kind of took me a little more time to get more comfortable with it, because you've got people doing live classes, all the time. And, you've got people that have YouTube channels. So really just after like a couple of quick clicks through the internet to see what I liked, what I didn't like, and what I'm more comfortable with, that allowed me to kind of evolve into my own virtual teacher.
All right, last one. All right, so this is a quote, and I'm going to read it to you and just ask you to kind of reflect on it. So, in a recent Education Week article, Bettina Love stated, "We now have the opportunity not just to reimagine schooling but to start over." Take a moment to reflect on this statement. And thinking about your approach to distance learning, do you have any ideas about starting over for education?
So I'll be honest with you, because that's just me, of course. This took a while for me to think about, because this is a tough question, and answering it is much trickier than I actually thought when I first started looking things over.
Yeah.
It's a powerful statement. And I even decided to look up the article, because I was just like, this woman's got a lot to say, and I'm very interested to hear it. So right off the bat, I think first and foremost, we need to address that we need to be concerned for everyone else's safety above anything else. I think that once people, both teachers, parents, students, administration, like once everyone feels safe, and that's easier said than done, then that comfort is going to return, and then people will start to feel a little bit better about possibly re-entering schools. But once schools start up again, I think that this is a very interesting time for teachers to kind of go against the grain a little bit. And what I mean by that is, I kind of played this scenario out in my head 100 times, but you think about all the things that are going on up here as a teacher, as a student, as a parent, as an administrator. You're interacting with hundreds, if not thousands of people every day, and there's problems that are being presented to you that you don't know the answer to, and there's just information overload across all counts. And think about, the teachers that are struggling with technology in the classroom, teachers that have overcrowded classrooms, teachers that have technology that doesn't work and they have to find a solution. Like, so much going on. But now we're in a very interesting point in education, whereas we are, as teachers, putting content out there for students to have at home, for parents and students to have access to. And this kind of takes us into that direction that, you hear a lot of people in education talking about, and that is, we want students to own their education. We want them to own their learning. That's tough to say for a kindergartner and first grader, but for a fourth and a fifth grader, this kind of stuff, I think, is right up their alley, because, you've got fourth and fifth graders that are talking about software that I don't even know about at the time. I think for teachers, we pride ourselves in having that quality and that characteristic of being flexible. So now is the time where you need to branch out and find a way to get that content that you're already good at teaching, because you're a good teacher at heart. Now you need to get that out there virtually somehow, some way. And that's kind of, I guess, where it starts. Now it's kind of trying to make sure that everybody stays motivated. Like, I've told staff members that, not get it done, but, take a look at your content, take a look at what you think is most important, and get it virtually. And worst case scenario, you did a little extra work over the summer, but you have it now if you saved it. So, like, there's I don't think there's anything but good that could possibly come from this. It'll definitely be a challenge trying to answer that question of how will schools look when they reopen. But I think the use of technology and the use of virtual and distance learning, like this is only the beginning. Like once people get better at this, like it can only get better. So
Yeah. Good. Awesome answers.
I tried. I tried.
So appreciate your thoughtful, the time and the thoughtfulness you put into answering each one of those. And
Of course.
I know you're doing great things.